Boot it up, don't crash today. Wi-Fi's moody, that's okay. Coffee's loading, brain still lagged. Luna's laughing, Techie's tagged. We're logging in with Luna and Techie. Tech talk's funny and slightly sketchy. Glitches, giggles, updates to an event's logging in. Brought to you, system ready, slightly unstable. You're logging in for boredom not found. You're logging in, best show around.
All right, set up a lot easier than last time, I gotta say.
That's good.
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
We kind of did it.
Okay.
I know. I wanted to start us off with talking about a trend that I've been noticing a lot on social media. You probably aren't aware of this, but
I don't have time for social media.
exactly. That's my exact point. Let me just go and put my ringer on silent so that doesn't interrupt us. But anyway, what the trend is that's taking place is that people are utilizing their skill set to farm follower count. And I'll explain. There was one guy who basically went and started off this trend by going and saying for every subscriber, he's going to go and fill in this little pixel of a dot, which eventually became a masterpiece, which eventually sold for not so much money. But essentially, it ended up evolving into 200 different pictures of various subscribers that would be focused on if they happen to have a comment that had the most engagement of likes. And people were using a lot this picture of Shrek with a mustache. So as a result, this guy was drawing over and over again these pictures of Shrek with a mustache. And sometimes it would be 4 Shreks with a mustache. And complete and utter waste of time. But the point is that people have pivoted this now into a penny per subscriber. And the way that this works is, let's say you are someone who has, I don't know, student debt. So what they would say is, I am posting every day, and for every subscriber that I get or every follower that I get, I'm going to put 1 penny towards my student debt. And people are starting to pay off their student debt doing this. But what's interesting is, from an engagement standpoint, is that as they start reaching more subscribers, so that would mean 1 million subscribers would essentially be paying off $10,000 worth of student debt. But the thought process from the creators are, once they get a strong enough level of engagement, then that would result in them getting money from places like YouTube and TikTok and all these other things. So this is, for some reason, this is becoming a big thing that everybody's starting to do. They're doing it with gold, where they're like, I'm going to add this amount of gold to this gold bar if I get this many subscribers, followers, etc., etc. So I don't know. You probably have no thoughts on this whatsoever. But this is supposedly how people are paying down their debt.
I mean, I guess I just don't get why somebody would want to take the time to, subscribe or whatever when they don't usually do that. It's like, what? Getting good content isn't enough anymore.
No.
It's kind of sad.
That's essentially what's happening, is that and this is why I wanted to discuss this, because content has become, and I hate to use the word, the beastification of content, where it's no more showcasing what you're cooking at home or like pouring a cup of tea or kind of even doing what we're doing, where we're just having a discussion. It's more so of some type of result-oriented system.
I guess with, I can see it, but it's just sad to me that, subscribing to somebody's content isn't enough of a results-oriented system, that people have to kind of be spoon-fed that if you subscribe, then a result happens, without sort of the empathic thinking, if you want to say, of like, I'm going to subscribe to help this person's channel out, right? Like you have to think through that process to be like, if I subscribe, this will help them, as opposed to them spoon-feeding you, if you subscribe, I'm going to do this. Right? Like, that's kind of sad to be in that state.
Well, but that's what they're saying. They're basically begging. It's the new panhandling of social media.
Right. It's like,
that's the way I would
put it.
It's
gamification in a sense, but
I mean,
don't
it's
know.
brilliant. It's brilliant in a way because essentially you start using your own money to begin with. Now, if you've got student debt, you assume you don't have money to put towards your student debt.
Right, that's the other thing I was going to say. So how fast are you getting, how fast do subscribers actually pay you?
They don't pay you. What happens is that as you start hitting certain milestones, YouTube starts putting ads with your content, and then you use that monetization to then supplement what you're using to pay down the debt. So somebody was able to pay down $20,000 debt using this.
Right.
And once they were able to do it, all these copycats came out where everybody's like, oh, and the guy that paid down the $20,000 debt now wants to do $100,000 worth of down payment for a house. Like that's their next goal.
I just wonder though how long this is going to last before it kind of burns out.
I mean, if you have everybody doing this,
Yeah, you have everybody doing this, but I'm saying like, again, the sort, if you want to say old-fashioned subscriber system used to be enough.
right,
And evidently that burned out.
right.
So how long is this going to go before people get bored of it or some scandal comes out or who knows what? There's like always something.
Right. I mean, because the thing is with this, because it's like I was almost thinking about it myself, like, oh, this looks way too easy to replicate. But if you've got a busy life, and it's almost impossible.
You have to be glued to it and responsive to it and constantly interacting with people.
No, you just have to check it every day. All you have to do is just be like, okay, yesterday I had this many subscribers. Today I have that many subscribers. Do the math. Okay, I'm going to pay down that amount. That's all you have to do. And then do it on camera.
Right, but if everybody's doing it, then at some point that's going to get boring, right?
That's what I thought. But it keeps coming.
I'm not in that way, but like for a short period of time. You haven't seen how this plays out yet.
No, that's true. I mean, there's another guy that took it from a different level where he's doing an I think it's like so many seconds worth of dancing for every subscribers, and right now he owes 16 hours worth of dancing to his subscriber base, but his fiance is saying he's only allowed to do 2 hours of dancing a day.
Right, because I mean, there's like work-life balance, if you want to say. But the other thing I wouldn't be surprised at is like the way these things always go. If at some point, let's say it really catches on, YouTube's going to be like, oh, we don't like that, we're having to pay out, like we're going to change the rules and not let this happen anymore.
Well, here's the thing, and this is the part that I've been kind of keeping quiet. The amount of engagement that's happening on these particular sections are being done under the finance category. Mm-hmm. The finance category happens to have the largest payout for ads. Mm-hmm. So whoever figured this out, figured out a way to get into the finance category without talking about finances. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm not sure if this is something that you applaud, of like, wow, they figured out how to get through.
I don't know what to think of it, but again, I look at these kinds of things in the longer term perspective. Like, it kind of feels like another one of these Gen Z things that might not last very long,
Ooh. But what if I told you it's not necessarily Gen Z doing it? It's probably, it feels like it's more millennials.
Yeah, it's very possible. I'm just saying, like, I feel like different generations have their kind of stereotypes, you know what I mean? Like, I see Gen Z as kind of like, a new shiny thing comes along and everybody gets excited, and then like another new shiny thing comes along and everybody gets excited.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but that's just kind of what I've observed about it. Whereas I see, like, with millennials, they're struggling, they find some solution, and as soon as they start getting momentum with that solution, the system responds and changes so that it doesn't work that way anymore.
Well, I mean, I know when we were first putting together this like radio show, we were going to go on actual radio. One of the segments that they were mentioning for me to work on, which doesn't work in this type of format, it's more of a radio format of just like the paperclip segment, where essentially you start with a paperclip and somehow you end up with a house.
Right.
They were for some reason saying that was going to be really good engagement.
Right. It could be. I don't know. I don't follow these things enough to really know.
Well, it's tough.
But
it's
again,
tough to go into trade a paperclip.
Well, but it's also been done so many times at this point,
Right. So what's the new thing?
Right. Exactly.
Or is it a case where tried and true? Like,
I don't know.
this is the method to go. Because it's
I really
like,
don't know. I mean, I would say like I think people are too overwhelmed and tired to keep after these things, but somebody somewhere is, you know.
well, it's so funny because I mean the thing is that I'd almost, if I were to do something like this with you, where it's like, okay, we're gonna use a penny towards paying off some type of project or something like that, I would almost do it that it's like, if it doesn't hit a certain amount of followers by X amount of days, knowing that our goal is not to use our own money to pay stuff off, but to basically get YouTube to pay off whatever we're trying to get paid off. I'd almost set a limit of just like, okay, if it doesn't happen by this date, move on.
Right.
So that way there's a
also
timer.
I'd also wonder, like, in the current market, you know, and I don't remember what year it was that somebody first did the paperclip thing, but I think of, like, in the current market, I feel like you have to have a big social media presence or a lot of friends or followers or something to, like, even get any momentum to these things.
Well, people are people are starting with 0.
Yeah, I get
followers.
that. I get that, but, like...
And the first few days that they're doing it, they go and they're literally like, and I've got 0 followers again, so I'm not going to be paying anything off. And it's like at some point or whatever, they're like, we got a follower, here's a penny. And it starts snowballing as the first penny comes in.
That's kind of how YouTube works. Like when, you know, you're actively posting things and people are actively engaged, they kind of show it to more people.
Right.
And then, like, when that's not happening, they just don't show it to people.
Right. Well, the other thing that happens with this is that there's 2 trends of doing it. There's one of excitement, where people are like, oh my God, this is so exciting, I'm paying things off. Or the other thing where they go and they say to their audience, please stop torturing me, don't subscribe, I can't afford to pay this off. And then, of course, they get, like, way more engagement because they're begging their audience not to do something, and they're acting like little kids and doing the exact opposite.
Right. I don't know. It just feels really dysfunctional to me. It's one of these things that, like, should work really well, but I don't know.
It's like a life hack, if you will.
Well, everybody's doing whatever they can to get by. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. It just feels like it's another one of these things that's kind of relying on a very specific point in a specific system.
And it relies on you being able to have time to edit.
Yeah, that too.
That's the
And
other thing
really
I
hard
realized,
too.
where it's like I could totally do this. I could totally go in front of a camera and be like, okay, we're paying 0 off because I have 0 subscribers. But then the problem is the engagement's not there, because I think the real secret is the editing, not the actual premise.
Right. Well, you have to kind of have a team to, like, you know.
Which you have to pay.
Okay. Right. Exactly. That's like the irony is, like, you know, you start out. If you were really, really desperate, then you probably wouldn't be able to get the engagement in the first place. I don't know.
Well, you'd have to
Maybe
go
their
to a
acceptance of
library.
that.
I mean, like, if we go and look at something like the Boston Public Library, they have an entire podcast center.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, having somebody kind of monitoring marketing, or I don't even know what, doing graphics for you, or even very basic. I mean, it can still take time.
Right. I don't know, but that's the general concept that's taken place of, like, everybody seems to be hurting really badly right now.
Right. Well, I mean, that's accurate. Like, everybody's trying whatever they can.
Yeah.
But again, like, I feel like it's a matter of trying everything you can until it fizzles out, and then trying the next thing. And, like, these trends are just moving faster and faster as people catch on, or, like, these big corporations catch on, or, like, you know, people's attention changes.
Yeah.
Like, there's a new, like, stress thing every other day, you know? like you used to kind of be able to predict what was going to happen, and, you know, in some sense, like, okay, more or less that's what's happening this fall, right? And, like, you know, maybe there would be one big surprise that throws everybody off, but then you get back on track. Like, I feel like the way it's been the last few years, this year especially, is like every other day there's some new shift.
Yeah, and there's chaos, and then everybody's wondering what's going on, and it becomes an entire monster out of something that really shouldn't be.
And then, like, your attention's on something else. You know, where your attention was fully on one thing, all of a sudden it's completely on another thing.
Yeah.
And, like, you can't get those people back because they're so distracted by this other thing.
That's out
It's
there.
It's a weird time we're in.
But yeah, so speaking of entertainment, how people are entertaining it is that time.
Water cooler.
Yeah, we have to go to the water cooler because we've been talking for what, 15 minutes?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I know. What do you think? Oh, okay.
All right, cool. So let's go to the water cooler and then we'll be back with more fun
Put
news
that down, kiddo.
instead of depressing news.
Yeah, have him put that down, too.
All right,
I
well,
gotta go check on the
all right, you go check in the oven. I'll go do this.
Ooh, it's break time. I'm Callie Girl, and the water cooler has logged in. I've got about 10 minutes before I have to click my mouse a few times so it looks like I'm working. So let's get into what happened recently. Trump lowers taxes on coffee, beef, and produce. President Trump has signed an executive order late last week lowering several agricultural tariffs, including beef, tomatoes, coffee, and bananas, and he made the change retroactive by a day. The goods weren't fully exempted from tariffs, but they were pulled out of the higher reciprocal rates that ranged from 10% to 50%. For example, tomatoes from Mexico remained at 17%, a tariff that already pushed up prices when it took effect in July. Many of the items that lost those higher rates were some of the same foods that saw the steepest price jumps in recent years, partly because of earlier tariffs and partly due to supply issues. Coffee from Brazil had been facing a 50% tariff since August, and consumers ended up paying nearly 20% more year over year. The move followed voter frustration in recent exit polls where affordability ranked high on the list of concerns, and earlier that same morning, the administration announced a separate trade agreement with Switzerland, lowering tariffs from 39% to 15%. So, for anyone who's been side-eyeing grocery receipts or calculating whether coffee is now a luxury item, a little pressure may have eased, at least on paper. And speaking of easing pressure, Washington had its own tension release this week, depending on who you ask. Marjorie Taylor Greene backed Trump despite his criticism. Representative MTG made headlines after she publicly supported President Trump this weekend, even though she'd been one of the latest targets of his criticism. In an interview on CNN, she said she still supported him and the administration's agenda despite his social media attack days earlier. Their clash appeared to stem from her support for releasing Justice Department records related to Jeffrey Epstein, a move she said was about transparency. Trump viewed the stance as disloyal, calling her a traitor. Greene said those comments were dangerous, explaining that language like that could inflame extremists and put her at risk. She also noted the tension had been building for months as she pushed back on Trump on issues like foreign aid and House strategy. She wasn't alone either. Representative Thomas Massie also accused the president of trying to block a bipartisan bill that would force the Justice Department to release Epstein files. So inside the GOP, loyalty was still the brand, but the definition seemed to depend on the day. And while we're on the subject of Epstein, another story surfaced that needed clearing up. Epstein's brother says Bubba isn't Bill Clinton. Mark Epstein, the brother of the late Jeffrey Epstein, issued a statement over the weekend to shut down a rumor that spread after the release of 2018 emails. The emails included a line where Mark asked Jeffrey to ask Steve Bannon if Putin has the photos of Trump, I'll say, blowing bubbles with Bubba. And because former President Bill Clinton was often named Bubba, speculation took off. Mark Epstein said the assumption was completely wrong. He explained that the exchange was simply private humor between brothers and that the Bubba mentioned was not Bill Clinton. A spokesperson added that Bubba referred to a private individual, not a public figure. He said the political interpretations were misdirected and distracted from the seriousness unanswered questions surrounding the Epstein case. So in short, the viral rumor hit the brakes, at least according to family. And moving from billionaires by association to billionaires in real time, singer Billie Eilish criticized Elon Musk after trillionaire projection. Billie Eilish spoke out again last week about extreme wealth, this time directly toward Elon Musk. Shareholders recently approved a compensation deal that could make Musk the world's first trillionaire with a T if Tesla hits major milestones over the next decade. Those goals included selling selling 1 million humanoid robots and getting 10 million customers onto its self-driving subscription. After reposting slides from a campaign that suggested ways Musk could use his potential future wealth to address global issues like hunger relief, newborn vaccinations, and infrastructure, Eilish added a short message calling him pathetic and cowardly with a few unfiltered adjectives. Musk isn't a trillionaire yet, though, but if Tesla's valuation hits $8.5 trillion, he would own a quarter of the company. So the conversation was less about what he has and more about what he might have and what he might do with it. And while celebrity headlines kept coming, a long-running medical question had an unexpected update. A New York neurologist determined that Wendy Williams did not have frontotemporal dementia, the condition a judge cited to justify her restrictive guardianship since 2022. Wendy recently underwent extensive testing, and the neurologist's findings contradicted earlier assessments. Medical experts have said frontotemporal dementia doesn't improve over time, yet Wendy has shown notable cognitive stability since becoming sober 3 years ago. Her legal team planned to file documents within 2 weeks requesting that the court terminate the guardianship. And if the court resisted, attorney Joe Tacopina intended to pursue a jury trial. For fans and supporters, it was the first significant shift in her case in years. And from legal battles to something far more sudden and serious, Jets cornerback Chris Boyd was critically injured in a New York shooting. He remains in critical condition after being shot earlier Sunday near Times Square. Police said officers found him on the sidewalk with a gunshot wound to the abdomen around 2 a.m. He was rushed to the hospital, and the team released a brief statement acknowledging the situation without additional details. The shooter left the scene in a blue BMW, and investigators were still determining whether Boyd knew the suspect or whether the attack was random. This remains an active investigation. And while the police are still sorting out what happened in that shooting, another case from decades ago just took a major turn, one with a name none of us expected to hear again. O.J. Simpson estate accepts $57 million claim. Over the weekend, O.J. Simpson's estate quietly took a step that surprised just about everybody. It accepted Fred Goldman's creditor claim for nearly $58 million. Goldman originally filed for more than $117 million, but the executor negotiated that number down, saying the interest had been miscalculated. Even at $58 million, it's still one of the biggest wrongful death payouts ever attempted to collect. The estate says it plans to pay as much as possible through auctions of Simpson's belongings, though some items have reportedly gone missing, and the executor says he's working with lawyers to track them down. He also confirmed he's denied almost every other creditor except the IRS. Uncle Sam, as always, goes in front of the line. It's a major shift considering the executor initially said he'd never give the Goldmans a dime. Now with OJ gone and the estate facing pressure, this may be the closest the Goldman family has ever come to seeing a real resolution, almost 30 years after the civil judgment. And speaking of consequences catching up, even in professional sports, accountability came knocking this week. Ravens' Ben Cleveland took a plea deal in his DUI case. Ravens offensive lineman Bill Cleveland took a plea deal earlier this month following his February DUI case. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of DUI after police said he blew a .178, more than twice the legal limit, and was seen driving erratically. Under the agreement, Cleveland received 12 months of probation, community service requirements, and mandatory alcohol-related programs. His 24-hour jail sentence was credited as time served. Cleveland admitted to having 3 to 4 beers before driving that night. He has been with the Ravens since 2021 and re-signed this year on a 1-year deal. Well, that's everything sitting around the water cooler for now. My break is up, so I'm going to pretend to look productive until someone schedules another meeting. This is Cali Girl with the water cooler. When I have more news, I'll log in.
Okay, so this is completely creepy. Literally, we just started recording something, and then we just discovered that it didn't record.
No, we didn't start recording something. We recorded a whole 15-minute segment.
Well, yeah, we did a whole 15-minute segment, but it stopped right at 1:11.
Right. Which is very interesting because we were talking about internet outages.
Right.
And like 3i Atlas
Yeah.
And all these kind of like woo-woo, almost like dystopian things.
I'm kind of spooked out right now. I mean, because they don't even know what topic we're talking about. I mean, we still have the first. We can play them the first.
Right, we should.
111.
Yeah, we should do that.
Okay,
we
so
should
we'll
play that and then we'll sort of pause it and then open this up.
Okay, so we'll play that.
That is very, very spooky considering the context.
All right, so we're gonna play that right now. Hey, we did it. I'll prepare the next news story. That was great. All right.
Hey, baby, that's gotta go back, honey. No. No. I'm not doing that right now. Please don't mess with these. You're not supposed to be in this cabinet. No.
We're gonna
Where are
have
your
to
toys?
make a
Toys? Alright,
tie a
play with
string
me.
around it. All
Come
right.
here. Ready?
Let me know when you're ready to
I'm
start
ready.
recording. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? All right, so I'm assuming we just played that, and so I don't even know what was in that first 111.
Right. Well,
Like-
it's going to be interesting to see where it stopped.
Right.
It is recording now, right?
It's recording now. It's fully
Okay,
recording.
this is crazy.
No. Like we were discussing a whole
Well,
thing and
I
stuff.
think we are in a Mercury retrograde, aren't we?
Yeah. Why don't you take? Well, okay.
I'm not an astrology expert. I will tell you that last week, from my understanding, we were being hit by a ton of solar storms, and we are sensitive to that. And you were getting like headaches and dizziness.
Yeah,
I was
fine.
getting headaches all weekend. Like everybody, all your clients were like getting injured in the hospital.
Yeah. I had a rock that fell on my foot.
Right. So it was like everything has been very, very sideways for the last week. Like plans changing in the span of hours.
Yeah.
A lot of like stuff like that.
And well, the funny thing is like the basic story that we were talking about was Cloudflare being down, and just like Venmo and Uber and all these places, everybody's down right now. Twitter's down,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. Everybody's basically down. But what's interesting about this whole thing is while we were discussing about that, like the kid was crying, you had to get some food. There was one point where you even walked away from the whole thing, and then we discovered at the end of the 15-minute timer that somehow it stopped exactly at 1 minute 11 seconds.
Right. We're gonna have to do some discussing later and see if we can figure out what was going on there.
I have no idea, but I think it's making a more interesting segment
It is.
in that way. So where I took the last segment that no one's ever going to hear except the universe, take this segment because I've got nothing in this case. I already talked about everything I needed to talk about, but apparently no one gets to hear it.
I don't know. I mean, again, we were talking about internet outages and things, and like how. Is that funny?
Apparently that's funny.
How everybody is so reliant on things like ChatGPT, and you have ChatGPT going out, and people can't critically think.
Right. And Venmo going out.
Right.
Which, again, just...
But I mean, you put that in the context of like what just happened to us. So let's say, your technology goes out in this world right now, then how do you pivot?
Like,
So if this whole society gets way too, glued to ChatGPT, something like what just happened to us happens, what do they do?
Right. I mean, Down Detector was down as well, so just to reiterate in case it didn't work last time. Oh, my computer's about to go out. That's even funnier. But the Down Detector essentially tells you if something is down, and you couldn't go to Down Detector to find out if something was down because Down Detector was down. Take that what you will.
It feels like that kind of day. I don't know why.
I'm just plugging in my computer that's about to go down because, again, didn't expect all this extra time. All right. I'm plugged in now, I think. Yep, that worked.
I find it funny, actually, now I think about it. Like, maybe this is just purely coincidental, but again, like I tend to kind of be sensitive to, you know, technology and EMFs and whatever all around me, and like usually I have a hard time waking up. This morning I was up like, I don't know, 7 something, and actually no, I was up before 7. And I like got so much done this morning.
Of course you
it was so
did.
nice. And I like woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
No, it was great. The world was so quiet, and I was like looking around like, this is so peaceful, and like it was awesome.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
So are you saying because everything went down?
No, I'm just wondering. I was kind of thinking like, oh, this is so unusual that I was able to really get up, you know, on time. Because I mean, I struggle like every day where I want to get work done like really, really first thing in the morning before everybody wakes up. You know, that's like classic mom solution to, you know, making everything happen. And I'm never able to pull it off because as soon as I get up, like the kids fall right away, and you know, good luck to me. But somehow this morning I just jumped out of bed and got right to work. It was great.
Everybody was out.
It was great.
Completely.
It's so funny.
No, but I'm wondering if that plays into...
I mean, it's very possible if there was less internet, you know, screaming at me or something.
There's potentially less... But there was no way of you to know.
Of course not. You wouldn't consciously know this stuff. It's like, it's a very like cellular kind of thing.
I mean, this is going
No
into
pun
totally...
intended.
This is, but I know, like the puns are flowing today. That's funny.
Hey.
No, but that's where I just don't understand when it comes to all this.
Yeah.
With so much going down.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm just thinking about that. The fact of you not feeling what normally would be the internet working.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not normally a discussion that people have.
That's a whole. It's like a whole other discussion going into health and, you know, frequencies, and I don't know. That's a whole can of worms.
So go ahead, go into the can of worms.
No, it's a big can of worms. Like, you know, you're gonna get censored if I go into that can of worms.
Oh, so we're not allowed to go into that can
We're
of worms?
probably not allowed to. I will tell you that, you know, back in the day, if you want to say, when the internet wasn't so pervasive and, you know, it was all like people were a little bit less connected, I definitely felt a lot better and things were a lot slower and more manageable. And, you know, now everybody's just so glued to it and so reliant on it.
I just checked on our system. It's still running.
Okay, that's a good sign.
And
Right?
it's past
I
1:11.
guess the universe
So
wanted me to talk about this today, right?
I guess so, because it's so fascinating to me that just happened.
Yeah.
And especially if it didn't land right on 1:11.
Right.
You're gonna have to explain though for
It's
people who
like-
don't know what 111 is.
It's like angel numbers. It's like 444, 777, 666. I don't know.
Yeah.
Supposedly they all have different meanings if you see them places, but I don't know. I think 111 is kind of or 1111 is like a classic.
11:11, but
What are you doing?
not 1:11.
Right. Well, whatever. It's as close as it's gonna
It's
be.
close because it's like I'm just getting nervous because it's like right now it's at that like 7-8 minute mark, and as it gets closer to 11:11, I'm like, are you gonna shut off again?
That would
Is
be
this
interesting, right?
is this gonna? Yeah, but it'd be
Yeah.
interesting for you, but for our audience, they won't get to hear what you're talking
We'll
about.
figure it out.
I just love it, that universe censorship.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think
I
of.
don't know.
For some reason, the universe did not like what we were talking about earlier.
Well, again, I was talking about like, you know, the internet outages and like how interesting it was. I thought I heard that like 3AI Atlas thing, which, you know, is basically, in my understanding, just sort of like a comet or a blob or something floating through our solar system right now. But like, apparently it got supposedly got hit by a solar storm or something this week, and like NASA hasn't been talking about it all these weeks because the government shut down, but I guess they're going to be doing some kind of talk about it tomorrow.
So from a government perspective, the government heard what we were doing and
Oh, I don't
decided
know. That'd
to
be
shut
creepy.
down our
No, that'd be
system.
creepy. I mean, I don't
I don't think they're listening in.
right, no. I don't know anything about this 3i Atlas thing any more than anybody else does. There are all kinds of conspiracy theories floating around about it. You know, what's true, what's not, who knows. You know, is it interesting and maybe having some effect on, like, you know, the energies of our solar system? Probably. I don't know what effect that is.
Yep.
But yeah, it's your brother.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
brother
excited.
brother just showed up, which just makes things even more entertaining right now.
But yeah, I mean, it is one of these kinds of things I think people have been like afraid to talk about, but I don't really know why.
Well, because
Cen-
obviously
censorship.
they'll interrupt your podcast /
Right.
radio show and not allow you to record because
Right.
for some reason they don't want you to know.
that it's there.
Yeah.
Well, because I mean, I know it's there because like yeah, because I'm working around the house in the day and like I listen to different things on YouTube and like I wouldn't say I like go down rabbit holes or things, but like I see whatever's like popping up in the feed. Doesn't mean I watch all of it, but
Well, also mention the thing you said about the homeschool. You received a note from.
yeah, but that's just another internet outage thing. I saw an email go across my screen this morning about like one of the homeschool platforms that we use sometimes having an outage today.
Right, but you didn't think it was the entire internet. You thought it
No.
was just that.
And like even like this morning, I tried to use a printer and like that wasn't connecting. But that's like never connecting.
That's
so-
never connecting.
so I
that
didn't
that,
think-
that I discount.
Right, I didn't think anything of that, but
No,
don't know.
but that could potentially have something to
right,
do with.
it easily could, but I didn't think of it at the time.
Yeah, no. The. I mean, that's the mess thing is like. Cloudflare, it's a $70 billion company that routes network traffic behind the scenes that nobody talks about until the networks go down. That's the funniest part, is that
Why would people be overusing these tools, right? If they did talk about them.
right. Well, it's not even something that the general public uses, it's what everybody uses in the background.
Right.
Right. I don't know. And ChatGPT being down and all these other
Is
elements.
ChatGPT still down?
I haven't tried it.
No.
Do you want me to try it and see if it's
I don't
down?
ever want you to try it.
No, but I think the funniest thing is New Jersey Transit being down. Like how are New Jerseyans getting
Probably the
it?
same way, like I said, that we deal with Boston on a daily basis. You just, add an extra hour or two to your trip and hope for the best, right? That's so bad.
Well, I'm just wondering if it's a case. Can you imagine? I didn't really read about New Jersey, but I could just picture people being on whatever buses or trains or subways and stuff, and then it's like, Cloudflare net is down. All right, the whole system then pauses, and they have to somehow figure out how to extract
but again,
humans.
like, unfortunately, like, I feel like we live that regularly in Boston. Not that we've used the T so much recently, but, like, the times we have, it, when we used to live out there, we used it, like,
All the
regularly.
time. All the time.
But now it's like every time we do, we're like, okay.
Well, it's funny. There was like one time or whatever we were using the T, and literally we were stuck at a stop for I don't even know how
Right.
long.
Above street level.
Right.
Well, I think that day I even I accounted for adding extra time. You know what I mean? Because like I said, you always add like an extra 30 minutes to an hour. I think I used to add like 30 minutes in my head. Now I'm like having to add an hour in my head.
Oh,
But
it's interesting.
it was bad. It was like it's at the point now where it's better to like try to park somewhere downtown than take the T because you're really, you can't rely on getting where you're trying to get for a certain time.
So it's interesting. Cloudflare says that they think they know what it is, and they said it's an unusual spike of traffic.
Interesting. Why?
That's all they're saying. It's an unusual spike of traffic. What does that even mean? That doesn't even feel like it means
I
anything
don't think
to
that
me.
would be like Black Friday or something. Nobody has money for.
People are preparing for Black Friday.
Right, but like I don't know. I don't really see it being this like mad dash like it used to be.
No. But people aren't going to brick and mortar. They're doing it all online. I mean, you ordered spices
Right.
online the other day.
Right, but I mean, again, I don't know what other people are doing. If I'm ordering anything for Black Friday, it's the things I can't afford the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And it's not like, shiny jewelry. It's like kids need shoes,
Yeah.
like because their shoes are too small or like, need to do some kind of home repair thing or like, the things that are just not on sale the rest of the year.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just very funny that like each individual newspaper, like local newspapers are saying like Cloudflare is down. Here's all the things on our local municipality that's not going to work because of it. that's what we're experiencing. All right, so kids are up. We probably need to log off, but the internet's down anyway.
Party.
Party for you. Any final words?
Don't think so. What?
I don't know. I was just seeing if there was anything computing.
Not really.
All right, let's go log off and get our day started then, since the entire internet's down. Bye.
Thank you.
Boot it up, don't crash today. Wi-Fi's moody, that's okay. Coffee's loading, brain still lag. Luna's laughing, Techie's tagged. We're logging in with Luna and Techie. Tech talks funny and slightly sketchy. Glitches, giggles, updates to glitchy glit. It's logging in, brought to you. System ready, slightly unstable. You're logging in, 404. Boredom not found. You're logging in, best show around. Boot it up, don't crash today. Wi-Fi's moody, that's okay. Coffee's loading, brain still lag. The Luna's laughing, Techie's tagged. We re-logging in with Luna and Techie. Tech talks funny and slightly sketchy. Glitches, giggles, updates to clutch, umbo, chiclet. It's logging